Welcome to the Steve Reeve Podcast with the best moments from the past week and a few things that didn't make it to air. Monday.
In the latest edition of I'm Angry on the Internet for No Reason, you may have clocked the asinine reactions to an announcement from Pink Floyd, heavy on the ass. So March 1st is going to mark 50 years since the release of Dark Side of the Moon. We were very excited to talk about that last week, and of course a new anniversary box set is coming out to mark the occasion. See, a small subset of brain trust people are upset that Pink Floyd has gone woke, prominently featuring a rainbow pattern on the album artwork. Failing to realize that the rainbow has been there since 1973, kind of a function of a prism, and that Pink Floyd has been progressive for even longer than that, and I'm not even just talking about the prog rock genre, and that woke doesn't really mean what you've been told it does, so, you know. Can't wait to actually listen to the album. I'm sure it's going to sound great in crisp, quadraphonic times a million sound. It's going to be fantastic. Rainbow and all. Let's get into it with the music news headlines for this morning to get us started. There's been a cover of an entire Radiohead album put out on the internet, the In Rainbows album, although all of the sounds for the entire album rendition have been taken from the samples of Super Mario 64. Actually, if we're really being nitpicky, one of the album tracks is actually using a Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time sound font, but the rest of it, straight out of Mario 64. Here's a little taste of what the song Reckoner sounds like. I don't know if I can handle it for the entire album, but it's curious nonetheless. Microsoft and Sting associated in a not good look, although Sting was just the hired entertainment for it. It was because he was hired to perform for top executives at Microsoft. Only about 50 people in the room on Tuesday, January the 17th, in Switzerland at the World Economic Forum, blah, blah, blah. But the problem is that this was just before announcing plans to lay off 10,000 people the very same day. Oh, good, they got their Sting concert in first. So glad all those employees were able to watch it. Buzz Aldrin has been walking for a great many years in his life, and he's gotten married once again for the fourth time at the age of 93. We're talking about one of only 4 people to walk on the moon, this very second one on the very first mission that actually made it there. Manned mission, I should say. And yeah, he's still kicking around and still wants to get married. She is 63 to his 93, which, you know what, might at first glance seem like a whopping age gap. I mean, it is 30 years after all, but it does pass the half plus 7 rule. Take the older person's age, cut it in half, add 7, that's basically your range, right? A good rule of thumb at least. Of course, with any time an old dude gets married, people are assuming that maybe he's only in it for her relative youth. You see, this woman, Dr. Anka Faur, a chemical engineer who also happens to be executive vice president of Buzz Aldrin Ventures. But, you know, maybe she just wants him for his rocket. You don't know. You don't know.
Tuesday.
We were asking earlier for a fill in the blank, and especially from the ladies. We are, count 'em, 3 weeks away from Valentine's Day right now. So it's time to get your plans together, right? Time to start figuring some stuff out. And to help out with anybody who happens to be buying a little something for Valentine's Day to show their affections, the fill in the blank is women don't want chocolates for Valentine's Day. They want blank, right? Ladies, we're listening. We are listening. And I've got some interesting responses coming in. I am a big fan of the people that have gotten in touch already. I mean, first of all, you just got a Steve in the comments, just scratching his head. Like, what is the part that is confusing you here? The getting of a gift for Valentine's Day? Because maybe you should. Maybe you should. But you don't need to go too crazy. Sarah, though, she says tattoos. Bradford says compassion and understanding. Yeah, only on Valentine's Day, right? Forget the rest of the year. Kay says coffee. Kathleen says a fluffy cow. They do have fluffy cows. They're a little expensive, hard to keep, but they do have them. Tarina says trips out of the country versus gifts. Well, I mean, sure, physical gifts and experiences, they're not quite the same thing, but out of country is the part that makes me laugh. No, can't go anywhere in our great nation has to be getting out of here. I can understand it, especially during the winter. And Ryan just says equal pay. I mean, love and respect. Again, yeah, $365, right? The Doors have just made a monumental sale. Their exhaustive entire catalog of rights and branding has been purchased, though it still is going to be overseen by a manager that they've worked with for a long time, Jeff Jampol. Twisted Sister, well, at least Dee Snider of Twisted Sister fame, was recently getting into the news because he said that Robert Plant was not a great frontman. Amazing singer, not great frontman. Now he's had to clarify what his comments meant, saying, people get very upset sometimes when me or a lot of celebrities express our feelings as if they're not allowed to have them. He was talking about who weren't great frontmen, talking about Led Zeppelin. Of course, Black Sabbath came into the conversation, but now he's had to put it into finer words, talking about how they really were talented individuals, but the reasons why he personally, as an individual, doesn't think they were great frontmen can still stand. That's fine. It's okay. And Bono in the news talking about how U2 actually splits up all the time. He says that he's amazed that they're still going as a band. They formed back in 1976 and never officially announced that they were broken up or taking a hiatus during their entire tenure. However, he was on the Smart Less podcast and talking about of the other members, The Edge, Clayton, Larry Mullen Jr. They do often fight. They disagree. It happens. But then, they get back together. And that's the most important part.
You're listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruise FM.
Joining me on the line right here to talk about Winterfest coming up. It's coming up so soon, actually, this weekend. It takes over Anzac. Tons of stuff to do. Mo Leducer is on the phone with me. And, well, first of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's nice to be back in the hometown and help host such a great event. Anzac being such a small, tight-knit community, I always look forward to jumping in and helping out and making sure everything goes off without a hitch.
It's going to be a great time once again. This is certainly not the first time that Winterfest has come on by. And so if people aren't familiar, what is the festival all about? Tell us a little bit more.
For many years, there wasn't races that happened out there, and I was approached back in 2017 and asked to help bring the dog races back. So 2018, we started again, and it's just nice to keep the heritage within this area. I mean, sled dog racing, it's got such strong roots to this area with our culture and whatnot. We put on everything from a 2-dog class, which you'll see young kids racing out there, a 4-dog class, a 6-dog class, a 10-dog class, and we even added skijoring this year. The 4-dog and the skijoring class is new classes this year. The skijoring is basically a cross between cross-country skiing and sled dog racing, so that's going to be an interesting one to watch.
And fun to say, too.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, I have such strong memories of the dog sled races when I was growing up, in the community and everything, and even beyond that, looking through, Dad's old photo albums of the races that were on before I was even born. It goes way back in our neck of the woods. Without the major history lesson, what could people look forward to watch the dog sled racing this weekend?
Well, actually, the good part is our event, we host 3 sled dog rides, which start at 11 a.m. sharp each day. They'll run till 3 p.m. There's learning to ice fish. There's a sliding hill for kids. There's a crib tournament Sunday. Even Saturday night, I believe there's a comedy and karaoke night out in Anzac. So for those looking for something to do, I mean, if they're interested in traveling out to Anzac, there's those types of events.
Well, stick with me on the line, Mo, and we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on at Winterfest and dive into these sled dog races and what you can see if you attend this weekend coming up. Continuing to talk to Mo Leducer about Winterfest happening this weekend in Anzac. What can you give for recommendation for people wanting to come and check it out?
I can recommend bringing out a snowmobile or a UTV. They're more than welcome to come out onto the lake and travel along and watch the race, but please stay off the trail, as it's, that trail, we put a lot of time and effort into making sure it's groomed and safe, and wheeled vehicles and snowmobiles make it a little dangerous for sled dogs. The other thing, too, in years past, we spent the week putting in a good trail, and then, I mean, it looks like a very nice trail to travel along for those that are going out ice fishing, and we've come out Saturday morning and there's been damage by trucks or side-by-sides or, those after the weekend are more than welcome to use it going ice fishing, but please stay off it through this week and through the weekend.
Right, yeah, a lot of time, a lot of people putting effort into it, and, above all, let's take care of those sled dogs. Let's take care of their poor paws. Thank you so much for taking the time and letting us know about not just the events going on, but, what to watch out for, Mo. It's going to be a great weekend.
You betcha. And like I said, it's the event it's a mass start race, so you're going to see anywhere from 100 to 160 dogs taking off at once in the 10-dog class into a funnel. So in each and every class is like that. Everybody takes off at once and heads into the funnel. Now, those who have machines that are able to travel along the side of the race and watch, that's really where you're going to catch all the action out there and see these athletes perform. And by athletes, I mean the dogs, not just those standing on the skis.
Of course, yeah. They're the real stars of it all, man. Hey, have a great one, and we're going to see you this weekend when things really get underway, okay?
Sounds good. Look forward to seeing you guys.
Wednesday.
Eggs on the brain right now for so many people as far as what is the latest thing that is just getting too expensive and also doesn't seem to be available quite so much. I haven't encountered the egg section of the coolers, empty or anything like that. Some people have found it, but there is definitely a ramp up in egg smuggling that's going on. This just tickles me for some reason. Egg smugglers are stepping up operations thanks to the runaway cost of a carton of white ovular gold. And it's a U.S.-Mexico border that's really seeing this happen a lot. For instance, like $8 for a carton north of the border, but down Mexico way, $3 for a carton of eggs. So people are seeing that $5 difference and going, we can make some bank, we can make some money off of this, off of eggs. Smuggled eggs. I don't know. Don't smuggle them the way that some other things get smuggled, though. I mean, I've read things about how mules operate, and eggs are breakable. That's all I'm saying. Eggs are breakable, but a carton of eggs is expensive right now. I know what I'm getting my girlfriend for Valentine's Day. Metallica. Of course, we know about their 72 Seasons, a new album, going to be representing their entire catalog, entire career over the last several decades. Well, you're going to get a chance to hear the new album entirely, along with the accompanying music videos, in theaters. Now, here's the thing. It's a one-off thing happening the day before the actual release of the album, which is April 14th, so look for it April 13th. However, no guarantee that it's going to be coming to our theater. The tickets for this global premiere in theaters goes on sale March 2nd. So, we'll just have to wait and see a little bit if it comes close to home, or if we have to wait the extra day to get it like everybody else. Now, one thing we're not going to be seeing in theaters, apparently, is the Madonna biopic. It was going to be directed by Madonna and starring Julia Garner. Apparently, it has now been scrapped. This was something that was announced 2-3 years ago in 2020, and with a whole bunch of names attached to it. Not sure exactly what has happened to make it canceled, but it is official. Meanwhile, speaking of no longer, Panic at the Disco has disbanded. Brendan Urie has said that after 19 years together, sometimes a journey must end for a new one to begin. I don't know if there was not enough Panic or not enough disco, but something wasn't working.
Hey Alexa, play the Steve Reeve podcast.
Drivers wanted for the Planters NUTmobile. Come on, you couldn't have called it the Peanutmobile. I mean, imagine the Oscar Myers Wienermobile, right? And it looks like a peanut. That's the idea here. Basically the exact same thing. The idea is to drive around the highways of North America, attending events, booking hotel rooms, living a life on the road in a giant peanut. Interesting. Yeah, this is a job that's available. The 26-foot-long peanut on wheels is available. Drivers need it. They're looking for 3, in fact. So, I mean, if you've ever been looking for a change of career, there is a deal, like a little clause that you have to make sure that you watch out for if you do end up in this position. It's that they have a deal. You have to park it behind the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile at all times, just so that the weenie looks bigger, Hey, come on. Don't come at me. They called it the NUTmobile, not me.
Thursday.
School back in session, of course, getting into the swing of things for a new semester, the rest of the school year and all that. They don't do it quite this way anymore. It's much cooler technology now, but we did have the bare bones technology that was always a favorite for all of the kids. I'm talking about that TV and VCR cart. The cart with the wheels, the casters that one of them would always squeak, kind of like the shopping cart. When that thing got wheeled into the classroom doors or was already set up when all of the students started filtering in, you knew it was going to be a good day. I don't know exactly what grade it was. I think it was even a couple of grades in a row, and exactly who the teacher was, I don't remember exactly, but I have this very distinct memory of one teacher in particular having us watch Captain Ron like 6 times. I think it was just the VHS that he kept at the school, you know what I mean? Just to have that handy, ready to go. Other than that, there was a lot of actual educational stuff and a whole ton of Bill Nye the Science Guy, absolutely, which is the exact example in the memes that you see about these things. Yeah, kids today, they don't understand because everything's got a screen on it now. Everything. I was asking yesterday, the big question was the best field trip that you can remember going on. What was the best one ever? And, some people say, no, I didn't hit too many. I didn't either. But there were some really, really, really great ones. And it was great to see some of the people filling in some gaps in my memory. Because, growing up here, I think there's, been a routine of some of the field trips, especially during my generation. And one of those trips was out, I was saying, to Rocky Mountain House, or, close to. And there's several people telling me that, the place we actually went was Pioneer Camp Ranch. Light bulb went off. Explosion in my brain. Now I totally remember it. I remembered the details about going there. I just didn't remember the name of it. I mean, we went like whitewater rafting. We did all kinds of stuff. The kids were playing educational games. Like basically there was team tag, but it was predator and prey, which sounds, like off the top, off the cuff, like a creepy game to play. But no, it was like educational. So each side of each team was either the predator animals or the prey animals, and then halfway through the game you switch, right? So then suddenly the prey has become hunted. And all kinds of fun stuff happened there, but also some semi-dangerous stuff too. I don't even know how it happened, but there was another Steve in my class, in my grade, who managed to get smacked in the head with some plywood that was like, it was part of the bed structure that somehow came loose. I'm sure not through any foul play whatsoever, but I truly don't know the story. I do know the end result, though. He got smacked near the eyeball and had to wear an eye patch for like weeks because of it, and everybody kept joking about Steve's wood out at camp. Not mine. Don't worry, not mine. There's no stories about this Steve's wood out at camp. At least none that we're telling on the radio this morning.
Thanks for listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruise FM.
A birthday party that's going to be celebrated very soon, specifically in April at the Hollywood Bowl, the birthday that celebrates 90 years of Willie Nelson rockin'. Yeah, and he's going to have a bunch of people performing alongside him. Star-studded is what they're calling it. Long Story Short is the title of the celebration, which I think is really cool. It's 2 nights, actually, this April. And with these gigs including Neil Young, there's going to be Beck there, as well as confirmed and to be expected, Snoop Dogg. Of course, they're friends, they're buddies. Sturgill Simpson, the Chicks, Leon Bridges, Casey Musgrave, Sheryl Crow, Tom Jones, and Orville Peck, as well as Willie Nelson's son Lucas, are also going to be performing. This is very, very cool. Unfortunately, I can only see the ability to buy tickets, not to watch a live stream, but I hope that does change in the near future. And we've got new Motorhead, as we already knew. A giant reissue of Bad Magic that's actually called Bad Magic, Seriously Bad Magic is going to be coming out. February 24th is the date, and we actually heard an unreleased song that was put out on called Bullet in Your Brain previously. Now a new one called Greedy Bastards, starting off with a spoken word anti-politician sentiment from Lemmy Kilmister himself from Beyond the Grave. But here's a taste of what the song sounds like. And it goes on and on. But one last story for you. Paul McCartney has announced, he's got a lot going on, a photo book called 1964 Eyes of the Storm, and it promises to be a showcase of Beatlemania and the chaos that came along with it, as well as all kinds of never-before-seen portraits of the bandmates, the Beatles themselves. And what's really cool about it, 275 photos inside, every single one of them taken by Paul McCartney himself. A masterful play from A&W on the internet. And you know what? It had me for a split second, because my very first thought when I encountered this was, is this the American A&W or the Canadian one? Because there is a difference, kind of a weird franchise history, but no. What's going on is that the great Root Bear is not going to be wearing pants. This is what they promised. They said, don't worry, he's polarizing. We understand the 6-foot-tall bear makes people uncomfortable, so he will be putting jeans on from henceforth. People lost their minds, like actually lost their minds. Fox News even ran it as a real story, but it's actually a joke. It's a big troll. If you don't know, This is actually in response to the even weirder M&M situation. So they essentially just laid off the animated M&M mascot characters and have hired Maya Rudolph as the M&M spokesperson, all because Tucker Carlson thought the green M&M was sexually attractive somehow. And not kink-shaming, just not understanding whatsoever. So enjoy the continued comfort, Rudy. Enjoy. No pants is best pants.
Friday.
This week in Why Science Why, there's now a liquid metal robot that can melt down and then reform on command. And you know exactly what that sounds like. Terminator 2 came out many, many years ago now.
So this other guy, he's a Terminator like you, right?
Not like me. A T-1000. Advanced prototype.
Liquid metal exoskeleton. Don't worry, not actually the size of a motorcycle cop. It's actually more like the size of a Lego minifigure. So, I mean, that's a little bit less scary. But this is just the beginning. Why does this actually exist? Well, they're hoping it can be used in, certain applications like medical applications. One of the tests that they used was to get a foreign object out of a simulated stomach. And it was able to start as like a formed shape, melt right down, almost eat the foreign object, and then wiggle its way back out of the stomach again. It kind of makes me queasy to watch. But, there could be some useful stuff in there. Unless it gets used for evil. I have a feeling that this technology will be back. Ba-ba-bum-ba-bum. Elton John, we've talked about him so much. Of course, he's still wrapping up his Farewell the Yellow Brick Road tour. But he's in New Zealand and was supposed to be playing Auckland, the largest city in the island nation, and had to cancel literally minutes before stage time. So, I mean, people were there. It wasn't like, hey, don't bother getting on the train today because we'll give you a refund. No, it was like, we're waiting in the actual audience, on the floor, in the stadium, had to get canceled. The reason why, though, is legitimate. There was huge flooding that was hitting the city. In fact, there was an estimated amount that was pretty much a summer's worth of rainfall in one night. Of course, they're on the opposite hemisphere and are experiencing the warmer side of the year right now, but obviously that comes with some of its sinkholes, some pitfalls as well. Mick Jagger is launching his own line of harmonicas. Yes, he wants this to be in the hands of young players who will turn out to be the legends of the future. Limited edition line of harmonicas with Mick Jagger slapped right on the side of them. These aren't going to be too readily available, however. I mean, I hope that they do actually end up in the hands of young people. The price point isn't that bad, about $60 American. Pre-orders are on right now. They're shipping on February 8th, but there are only 2,500 of them, so they're obviously going to become a collector's item and probably barely ever used, at least in some cases. We got him on the line. He's having a viral moment right now, though he's not even in town just for this morning, but our very own Guy Fieri lookalike of Wood Buffalo, Pete Spears, man. Thank you so much for being on the phone line with me. Now, you were recognized as a lookalike of Guy Fieri at a Flames game this week. So what was going on?
Yeah, we went and watched Chicago and Flames play last night at the Saddledome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you're in the stands, the Jumbotron hits you, and everyone's like, hey, it's Guy Fieri lookalike. Is this something that's new to you? I don't think so, right?
No. It was about 9 years ago I dyed my hair and never seen you look like this guy. So I was like, oh, okay. So pretty cool.
I'm sure people, around Fort McMurray, around Wood Buffalo, seen you around, and oh my God, is that? And in fact, I saw that it was on your Twitter. You were responding to Jay Onright was saying in his "You Blew It" segment that somebody sent in a photo of you declaring it was Guy Fieri. And he's like, no, this is Pete from Fort McMurray. And of course, you are definitely involved in hockey.
Yeah.
As a trainer for our McMurray Oil Barons. So what are you up to with that? I mean, are you out of town with the team right now?
Yeah, we're on a week-long road trip here this week. We just got done playing drum in Brooks with a day off. So actually two of our players, their dads, or one dad, one uncle work for the Flames. One's the physio, Chris Kabelka's dad, and Muller is the assistant coach for the Flames. So we actually went down a tour of the facility, watched a game day skates, and now today we are playing the Canucks in Olds tomorrow.
Of course, man, of course. Yeah, the battle continues on the ice. But there's another battle that's being faced right now that I saw you were even mentioning. Is you're saying, hey, I'm open for interviews. You know what needs to happen? More sales for the dream home. So, of course, tickets are going to be done, their sale run in the very near future, but there are more to be bought, right?
Yeah. If everyone that read that tweet, if they could go buy one, it'd be unreal for us right now. The booster sales would help us out a lot.
Absolutely. Well, we're banging that gong for sure. We're ringing that bell. Everybody check it out online at oilbaronsdreamhome.com. You can go snoop around. You can get your tickets there. Of course, you can go in person while they've got their open hours and check it out. And tell them that Pete sent you.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking the time to chat this morning. I hope you have fun with this, man.
I will, buddy. You have yourself a great day.
You too.
Transmission over. Want more Steve? New podcast episodes happen every Friday, or just tune into the Steve Reeve Show. Weekday mornings starting at 5:30 a.m. on 100.5 Cruise FM.